Last time we were together, we looked at the narration of the Day of Atonement. The Israelites were at Mount Sinai at that time. They spent quite a few months there. And then in the second year, the Lord moved them out to the wilderness of Paran to an oasis called Kadesh. And from there, they were just south of the Promised Land. And God came to Moses and he said, for Moses to choose a leader from each of the 12 tribes, a chieftain, and to send those 12 men into the Promised Land to spy it out, so that he could plan how he was going to move into the land with the children of Israel. So those 12 men were chosen, and they went to spy out the land. Moses gave them some instructions first. He said, check out, see what the country is like. Is it highly populated, or are there a few people there? Are they settled in, what kind of cities are they settled in? Are they encampments or are they fortifications? And is the land productive? Are there trees in the land? And so with these instructions, these 12 men set out and they went out to spy the land. On their way back, one thing that Moses did say too, because it was the fruit season, he said, bring back some of the fruit, some of the produce of the land. And so on their way back, they came through this valley and they cut a cluster of grapes. Now, just as an aside here, what's the largest cluster of grapes you have ever seen? I think the largest I've ever seen I could hold in 2 hands. Well, this was a cluster of grapes like you and I have never seen before. To carry this cluster of grapes, they had to put a pole through it, and 2 stout men had to carry it on their shoulders. I imagine this cluster of grapes was anywhere from 4 to 5 feet in length, and it took, as I said, 2 men to carry it. It was so unique even to them that they named that valley the Valley of Cluster. And they also picked some pomegranates and some figs, and they brought those back to Moses. So after 40 days, they had done their spying, and they came and they gave a report not only to Moses, but to the entire congregation. And they said the land that we spied out was truly a land flowing with milk and honey. And this is some of the fruit. However, the people that dwell in the land are strong, and the cities are fortified, and they are large people. And in addition to that, there are giants in the land. And a muttering started to go through the crowd as they listened to this report from 10 of the 12 spies. And Caleb, one of the 12 spies, stood up and he said, wait a minute. The people, let's go up at once and occupy it, for we are well able to overcome it. And but the men the 10 of the 12 spies who brought a bad report said, no, we're not able to overcome it because the people are more powerful than we are, and plus those giants. And so the people were distraught, and in fact, they cried all that night. And the next day they got up and they complained to Moses and Aaron, and they said, why has God brought us to this land for us to be killed here and our wives and our children to be taken captive? It would have been better if we had died in Egypt, or at least died in this wilderness. And they started saying, in fact, let's choose a leader who will take us back to Egypt. And Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the assembly. And Joshua and Caleb said, no, 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 no. Don't rebel against God. Because if God is with us, he'll take us into this land. And God's taken away the strength of these people from before us. And they'll be like bread to us. We'll just consume them. But please don't rebel against the Lord. And someone in the crowd shouted out, "Stone him!" And so the cry went up, and men began to gather up stones to stone Joshua and Caleb. And the glory of the Lord appeared above the tabernacle in such a way it caught everyone's attention. They began to drop their stones. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will this people despise me? And how long will they not believe me in spite of all the signs that I have done among them? But truly I say, as I live, and as all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord, none of the men who have seen my glory and my signs that I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and yet have put me to the test these 10 times, and have not obeyed my voice, they shall not see the land that I swore to give their fathers, and none of those who despise me shall see it. And he told Moses to tell the people that all the people that were 20 years of age and above, after they had taken the census, all of those people would die in the wilderness because they had failed to believe God. There was 2 exceptions, and those were Joshua and Caleb, because the Lord said they had a different spirit within them. And so the Lord said all the rest of the people would die in the wilderness. So Moses told this to the people, and he said, the Lord said that for every day that the spies were in the land, 40 days, 1 year, they would wander in the wilderness. In other words, for 40 years, until all their carcasses were left there in the wilderness. And the Lord said, what I heard in your presence will happen. You said, better for us to die in the wilderness, and you will do that. And your children I will take into the land. But they will pay the price for your disobedience, and they will be shepherds and wander in the wilderness for 40 years until all of you old folks, 20 and above, have died out. Now, the 10 spies that brought the bad report, they died of a plague right there in the presence of the Lord. But you had these 2 men who believed God, Joshua and Caleb, and they were able to go into the promised land. So what's the takeaway for us? Maybe God is calling you to do something, but you're seeing giants instead of seeing the Lord and his promise to direct you. God never calls us to do something, but what he doesn't give us the ability to do it. And so what giants are you allowing to keep you from doing what God has called you to do? So enjoy reading this exciting narrative, and there may be some more. Lord bless you.